For thousands of years, humanity believed a beautiful lie. We believed that the rooster was a faithful servant of the sun, that it stood watch in the dark, waiting for the first golden ray of light to pierce the horizon before crying out to wake the world. It is one of our oldest, most romantic stories of nature, but it is entirely wrong. The rooster does not crow because the sun rises. In fact, if the sun never rose again, the rooster would still crow at the exact same time. And the reason why reveals a hidden, silent dictatorship that governs almost every living creature on this planet, including you. We live in a world obsessed with artificial time. We divide our lives into minutes, hours, and shifts, governed by the cold, digital screens in our pockets. But long before humans invented the first clock, nature had already perfected one. For over 3 billion years, life on Earth has evolved under a simple, brutal rhythm, the rotation of our planet. The constant transition from blinding light to absolute, thick darkness. To survive, every creature had to build a clock inside its own cells. This is the science of circadian rhythms. It is the invisible force that tells a flower when to open, a wolf when to hunt, and your own body when to sleep. But while humans have spent the last century trying to ignore this internal clock with streetlights and smartphones, the rooster remains a prisoner to it. To understand how deep this imprisonment goes, we have to look at a bizarre experiment that shattered our understanding of animal behavior. For centuries, scientists debated whether the rooster's crow was simply a reflex, a biological reaction to the physical sight of morning light. In 2013, researchers at Nagoya University decided to test this ancient myth. They took a group of roosters and locked them in a room with no windows. For weeks, the birds lived under a cruel, unchanging condition. 24 hours of constant, dim, artificial light. There were no sunrises, no sunsets, no morning temperature drops. If the crow was just a reaction to the sun, the roosters should have fallen completely silent, but they didn't. Every single morning, in the absolute unchanging gloom of their artificial prison, the roosters crowed at the exact same time. They didn't need the sun. They had their own subjective dawn ticking inside their brains. They were operating on a perfect 23.8-hour internal cycle. Yet, this discovery raised an even deeper, more unsettling question. If the crow is entirely internal, why do they make so much noise? And why does one specific bird always get to speak first, while the others wait in silent terror? In the wild, a rooster's crow is not a cheerful greeting. It is a territorial threat. It is a declaration of absolute power. And within the social structure of birds, that power is non-negotiable. Every flock has a strict social hierarchy, famously known as the pecking order. At the very top stands the alpha rooster. He commands first choice of food, territory, and mates. He also holds the exclusive sovereign right to wake the world. During the Nagoya University experiments, scientists discovered something extraordinary about the flock's social clock. The alpha rooster always crows first. Only when his resonant call has faded into the trees are the lower-ranking roosters permitted to speak. If a subordinate rooster dares to crow first, it is considered an open act of treason. The alpha will attack him instantly, enforcing the hierarchy with razor-sharp spurs and a bloody beak. The internal clock of the rooster is not merely a tool for keeping time. It is an evolutionary instrument for maintaining peace. It allows an entire flock to reaffirm its social order every single morning without tearing each other to pieces in endless territorial wars. But how does this biological clock actually operate? How does a bird, with a brain the size of a small walnut, measure the cosmic rotation of the Earth through a solid skull made of bone? The answer lies in an organ we lost hundreds of millions of years ago. For humans, seeing is an indirect and complex process. Light enters our retinas, travels down the optic nerve, and registers in the visual cortex at the back of our brain. If you close your eyes and cover your face, the entire universe dissolves into blackness. Roosters, however, do not rely on their eyes to perceive the morning. Their skulls are remarkably thin, so delicate in fact that they are partially translucent to ambient photons. And sitting directly beneath that bone, right at the crest of their forebrain, is the pineal gland. In humans, the pineal gland is buried deep in the dark core of the brain. But in birds, it is an evolutionary relic inherited from ancient reptiles, a true, functioning third eye. Over 300 million years ago, early reptilian ancestors developed parietal photoreceptors on top of their heads to monitor the passage of celestial time without lifting their gaze. While mammals eventually internalized this organ, birds kept it alive. The rooster's pineal gland is directly photoreceptive. It contains specialized light-sensitive pigments that detect the microscopic shift of photons penetrating through the bone itself. Even if a rooster is completely blind, its brain still witnesses the arrival of dawn. It is a masterpiece of ancient bioengineering, calibrated across deep geological time. Yet, this perfect biological instrument has recently collided with a catastrophic wall, a wall built entirely by us. For 300,000 years, our ancestors slept under a boundless canopy of stars, waking solely to the quiet, natural transitions of the sky. Then, in 1667, King Louis XIV installed the first lanterns along the avenues of Paris, igniting a quiet, relentless war against darkness. Today, that war is almost won, and the rooster has become its quietest casualty. In modern industrial agriculture, factory farms have weaponized the rooster's sensitive pineal eye. By flooding massive, windowless barns with blazing artificial light for 23 hours a day, the natural rhythm of the flock is obliterated. Without the boundary of night and day, their pineal organs are thrown into perpetual confusion. They eat continuously, grow abnormally fast, and lose all connection to biological time. We took a sacred, millions of years old compass and dismantled it for economic output, and without realizing it, we have done the exact same thing to ourselves. Every single night when you stare into your smartphone in a dark room at 2 a.m., your retinas flood your brain with artificial blue wavelengths. Your pineal gland, convinced the midday sun has arrived, abruptly halts the production of the very molecule designed to heal your mind. That vital molecule is melatonin. Often trivialized as merely a sleep aid, melatonin is actually one of the most potent, primordial antioxidants in the entire history of life on Earth. It is the cellular shield that sweeps through your tissues during deep sleep, repairing damaged DNA and extinguishing inflammation. In the wild, a rooster's internal clock orchestrates a massive surge of melatonin as twilight falls, bathing its nervous system in restorative darkness. But when we saturate the nocturnal world with artificial glow, that protective shield instantly dissolves. The consequences are silent, cumulative, and profound. Both humans and animals subjected to unbroken artificial illumination experience elevated stress hormones, disrupted metabolism, and premature cellular aging. We traded the profound sanctuary of the night for the illusion of a ceaseless 24-hour world. When you hear a rooster crow in the dead of midnight outside a modern poultry farm, it is not greeting the dawn. It is a biological scream, an ancient clock short-circuiting in a world it was never evolved to inhabit. The next time you hear a rooster's solitary call echoing across the quiet morning, do not hear it as an ordinary alarm. Hear it as a reminder that beneath the concrete, the schedules, and the digital glow, every fiber of our biology is tethered to the ancient rotation of this planet. No matter how many switches we flip, we cannot outrun our own design. Perhaps our modern exhaustion does not stem from working too hard. Perhaps our spirits simply miss the dark. I want to ask you, especially those of you listening in the quiet hours of the night, do you still feel the rhythm of the natural world inside you, or has the artificial glow taken over? Share your reflections in the comments below. If this exploration into the ancient clocks of nature gave you a moment of stillness, consider subscribing to the channel. Until next time, step away from the screen, look up at the night sky, and stay curious.